Okay, so we've just finished the outer leg seams. They're sewed and zigzag. And now we have what looks like pants. The next step is number 4, but we're actually going to skip number 4. It involves tacking down these edges if we were pressing them open, but since we zigzagged them closed, we can go ahead and skip that. Step number 5 is completing the casing. And our directions are a little bit different than actually what it says here in the pattern directions. Basically, we're just making the casing a little bit bigger, therefore easier. The first thing you're going to do is get your seam gauge. So I have a seam gauge here. Your iron hot and set on cotton. And you're going to slip your pants onto the ironing board. I would like to point this out. Someone burned my ironing board cover because they left that iron down. Never leave your iron down. It'll burn the cover, could start a fire. It'll burn your pants if you leave it on the pants. But here we go. We'll go ahead and put the pants on the ironing board. So you can see this is just one layer of fabric and the back of the pants is underneath the ironing board. And for the casing, what we're going to do first is fold this top edge down 1/2 of an inch. So you need to make sure that your seam gauge is at 1/2 of an inch. And then we're going to go ahead and fold this down. I like to make sure that this seam, whichever way it's going down here, folds the same way up here. Okay. And then we just go ahead and fold it about 1/2 an inch and check it with your seam gauge. Okay, 1/2 inch isn't a lot. Usually what I do is check one spot, get it just right at 1/2 inch, and then iron that spot. Once you have one area, it's kind of easier to gauge where it should be as you turn the pants. So we'll go ahead and turn this to the next section, turn down 1/2 inch. Okay, I'm measuring this based on what I did up here and checking it with my seam gauge. Press that. You're not ironing, you really are just pressing at this stage. So press down, lift up. Go ahead, turn to the next section. Okay, let's get this at 1/2 inch. Double check with your seam gauge. Press, be careful of your fingers. Your iron is approximately 350 degrees. Turn to the next section. And once again, going at Moser pace, you're probably going to go a little bit slower. And I do want you to be really careful that you're getting this 1/2 inch. If your casing is kind of wiggly and all different measurements, it's not going to look nice, and it will show on the front of your final sewed pants. Okay, so what I've done now, we've come all the way full circle. Okay, folding down 1/2 inch all the way around the pants. The next step to form the casing is to fold it down one more time. And what this does is it makes a space underneath here for our elastic, and that first fold gives us a finished edge so that when we sew it, you don't see like a raw scraggly edge here. It's nice and finished. The second time we fold it, it needs to be 1 3/4 of an inch. All right, and again, you want it to be exact. So between this point and the blue point on your seam gauge should be 1 3/4 of an inch. All right, so we'll straighten that out. Check it to be 1 3/4. Adjust it if it's not. And Mrs. Caddian and I are going to be sticklers, making sure this is the right measurement. Okay, so we'll press that section. Okay, and turn to the next area. Once you have measured the first fold at 1/2 an inch, ironed it, and then the second fold at 3/4 of an inch and ironed it again, you are going to go ahead and pin and sew your casing, which I'll put in another video so that this one isn't too long for you. Just straightening things out, making sure, you know, seams are flat, everything looks good, checking that measurement as we go. Standing the iron up when I'm not using it. Okay, so we're almost all the way around. Okay, back to the start. So now that we've ironed all the way around, we've formed the casing. You can see it's folded under once and then folded again, and our elastic is going to go underneath this piece after we sew it closed. So in the next video, I will show you how to pin and sew your casing.